I'm going to cook some hamburger helper here, the 4-cheese lasagna. There's lots of different flavors, but this is a good one, as well as the stroganoff. All you need is a pound of meat. The contents of this box. I always like to use a little extra of the pasta, throw a little extra in there. And also, I like to flavor it up just a little bit with some extra seasoning. So the first thing I want to do is brown this meat in the pot, pour off all the juice as far as the grease, and make it more healthy. That's a 70-30 meat there. Takes about 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes from beginning to end to make this, and that box there be more than enough for 2 people. But basically my son, I'm just making that for him. He'll eat just about all of it. What he won't eat, he'll save it for tomorrow, and it'll be just as good. So as a quick meal for you, and we'll go ahead and get started with that now. First of all, I'm going to crank this stove up to the high heat. I'm going to pour this in here, and I like to go ahead and press it down a little bit, separate it, open it up so it'll cook a little faster instead of being in the big clumps there. And it was froze, so I went ahead and defrosted it in the microwave using the inverter defroster button there. If you don't have that button, you can use like low power for 5 minutes. Like if you have power 1 to 10, you can use like 5, and just keep an eye on it, because you don't want it brown already when you put it in the pan. You want it basically just like it is here, raw hamburger meat. So I'm going to go ahead and let that get started doing its thing, and then we'll get back. Okay, it's starting to brown now, and what I like to do is, as I'm going through this browning the meat, I'll go ahead and start chopping it up into little small pieces, and that helps it cook a little quicker. And I just don't like those big chunks of hamburger meat in the hamburger helper. Well, I don't think any of us do here in the family. So as you're browning it, just go ahead and start chopping that up at the same time, and there's going to come another opportunity for you to chop that up as well, and that's when we're pouring all of the grease out of the pan here, out of the meat. And as you can see, there's already a lot of the meat coming out there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this meat brown, and show you what the next step is going to be from there. Just a word of caution as you're cooking this. Don't let the meat sit too long in one area, otherwise it'll flash cook, and you'll have hard cooked meat inside your meal. You don't want that. You want it to be nice and tender, and so just keep it moving, keep chopping on it if that's what you want to do, as far as how fine you want it chopped up there. But as you can see, I'm just continuing to chop and stir it, and that lets it cook evenly, and at the same time it's getting it down to those smaller pieces that we like when we're enjoying the meal. So it's about where we want it at. I don't see any paint other than just a few pieces, and that's going to cook out as the meal simmers, finishes the cooking process. But this would be what I'm referring to as browning. That's ready to go ahead and pour out, and I'll get rid of all that grease, squeeze it out into that container over there. I'll use my strainer to press all that grease out, and then we'll be back. As I said, you'd have another opportunity to chop up that hamburger meat. As you can see, we squeezed out quite a bit of grease there, and I'm going to continue to do that as I chop here. And you can see that meat looks fantastic. Okay. All right, that's ready to go. Now, if we look on the back of the package, basically all you're going to do is pour that meat into the pan. You're going to, let's put it right here. You're going to get 1 1/4 cups of hot water. I just take water, tap water, pour it in there, 1 1/4 cup, and then 1 3/4 cups of milk, and pour all that in there with the meat. And then I grab maybe a handful of the rotini pasta, throw in there as well. Put my seasons in there along with the season here in the box, and then I'll add just a little bit, and then that it'll cook itself, and it's going to be great. So let's go ahead and get this thing set to where we can do that. All right, as I said, I've got the 1 1/4 cup of the water. I've got 1 3/4 cups of the milk. I have the browned hamburger meat, and I have my seasons, and that's all you need as far as to have a fantastic meal there. So let's go ahead and pour all of this into the pot. Get that going again. And be careful because that thing is still hot. I keep it on just a little because I'm right here at it, and I don't want to have to get it, heated back up. But you don't want to walk away and other people in the home there and not know it's on and have a problem there. So just going to pour this contents in here. Just pour it all together, and don't pour out your mix. There's a package of mix in here. Okay. Let's go ahead and what we want to do is bring this to a boil. Hold on here. Let me try it from this side. There we go. I want to bring that to a boil and then cut it down to a simmer and then let it finish itself off. Okay. So we got that. Okay. And then what I like to do is get some of this seasonal and put that in there. And get a little salt like that. A little pepper here. And then if I have this extra pasta, just grab a healthy amount there, about like that. Then I take, and be careful because that's still hot up under here, and you don't want it to begin to cook and scorch that meat that's on the bottom. So come back to it and stir that up as you're getting your stuff together. So I'm not going to pour the whole pack in here. This is a full pack. If I were to make this into fourths, I would say I'm probably going to use a quarter of that pack. About that much. About that much. Now, I'm letting that come up to a good boil. Get this out of the way here. That out of the way. Alright, I'm going to move this around a little bit. Like I said, it's super hot in there on the bottom, so you don't want it to scorch. So I'm going to move it around a little bit. I want it to come up to a roaring boil. Right now it's not there, and let's see how long it takes for that to get to that point. I'm gonna put some of this stuff up while that's happening. Starting to see just a few little bubbles here. Okay. Starting to look real good. Let's take you off here. Okay, so we're trying to get this to a boil, and it's getting there pretty much. I wouldn't say it's there yet. All right, so it's almost. I would say that's right where you want it. Look at that. Now, what you're going to do is you basically I just take mine always and put it up to 2, thereabouts. I stir it up one last time until I come back to just stir it up again a little later, and I cover it. Okay, so come back to that in 7 minutes. 7 minutes, we're going to uncover that. We're going to stir it. We're going to cover it back up, come back in 7 more minutes, and then we'll see what we have from that point. Okay, as I said, what I normally do is I run some water over here, and whatever I use, I'll clean up real quick, put it up out of the way, and then that way you've got a clean work area all the time. It's only been 3 minutes since we put the top on. Now, you don't want to take that top off every few minutes, because then you're playing peekaboo with it and it's going to have a longer cook time. Just wanted you to see that there's lots of steam and vapor coming up out of there as it does its thing up under the lid. So just let that work and give it 7 minutes. We'll come off and look at it together and pull that and stir it and put it back on, and probably wait another 7 minutes. Check it again, and it won't be much longer than that. So, in the meantime, like I said before, you can multitask, or you can do like what I call it taking care of business. So let me take care of a few things. All right, it's been 7 minutes. Let's go ahead and take the top off there. And you'll notice that there's still a lot of juice in there. A lot of cooking needs to take place. But you'll also notice as you stir this up, there is a few pieces of the pasta that will be slightly stuck. And so you want to make sure you loosen all that back up again. So that's why in 7 minutes, we take the top off and we stir it all back up, loosen up anything that might try and stick. Okay, and you can smell that's going to be fantastic. Okay, so we're going to put this lid back on, and we're going to wait 7 more minutes. Okay, and some folks say, well, how do you know when it's ready? How do you know when it's finished cooking as far as the consistency? It just depends on what your preference is, but we like to do basically the 7. I'm going to put the top back on. Okay, now I haven't changed the temperature. I've still got it on the simmer, the 2. And I'm going to leave that on. It's 11:26. I'm going to stir it back up at in 7 minutes. So that will be 11:33. So I'll be back in here and stir it up. As I said, I've already been over here and handled this business here. There's the evidence. Boom, boom. The cups I used, and you may have noticed over here all that grease. I pour it in here once I drain it off the meat, and I just keep that off to the side. And any of the grease and stuff we always want to pour out of those meats and such, as far as the hamburger and the sausages, and then we'll go ahead and pour it in that and get rid of it. But as you know, that's where a lot of your good flavor is, but you can't have too much of that stuff, so we get rid of quite a bit of it, and the food is still fantastic. All right, so be back in probably 6 minutes now. Okay, well, that's been 7 minutes. So where are we now? Right, and I can feel there on the bottom there's some more of that pasta that we knocked loose. we loosen it up and stir it back in, and that really is looking good, looking really good. Now, I wouldn't say it's ready, but I would say it's really close. I don't think I would go 7 more. I think you'll finish up with a 5. A 5. So I'm going to stir it up really good, and probably could take it off at this point and set it to the side, but we don't want to do that. We're going to go ahead and give 5 more with ours. Let's see. Yeah. So a lot of that would evaporate and set over some time, but we want to go ahead and help it a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and cover it back up for 5 minutes, and that is going to do it. Okay, so basically what did we do? 7, 7, 5. That's for 1 box now. Okay, so if you got 2 boxes you're cooking at one time, you're going to have to do a little different. But let's look and see what we have in 5 minutes. All right, been 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and see where we're at. And what I see is we have a finished, fantastic 4-cheese lasagna, magnificent. Okay, now as I stir, you can see all of that steam and all those vapors and all of that taste. You smell that. That's the aroma, the flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off of the burner here, and cover that back up, save all that good aroma. Now that is ready to go. That is definitely ready to go. What you want to do at this point is go ahead and have you some vegetable on the side, and maybe a roll or biscuit or something like that, or just eat you a huge amount of this awesome food here, and you'll find out that you'll probably be looking for other flavors and to try them all, because they all are really good if you cook them just right. Like the meat here in this, if we look at it again, is really tender. It's not cooked to where it's all hard, and it's not scorched on the bottom. It's not stuck to the bottom of the pan. So this stuff here is going to be excellent. Now, if you look at that, that's a good amount of food there. The box says that it's, let me just double check before I say what I think it is. Now, the box says that is enough for 5 servings, but what I would be doing is basically look at like this and that, and this area here. That would be a good portion for anyone, a good portion. So I look at this as 4 servings with some vegetables on the side would be fantastic. Fantastic. Now this is the 4-cheese lasagna, and it is superb when you add in the taco season. And then you have all of the other ones. Now there is one called the stroganoff, which is my son's absolute favorite. And of course I do a little extra to it to make it that way, just like we did here. But you know, once you take that out of the pan and you put it in a bowl or any other serving, you know, platter or whatnot, it's as good as anything you can go to a restaurant and buy, and better in most cases. So you know, all that going out to eat is not necessary. You could do much better at home in many cases, and it'll be healthy. Just like this meal here is going to be a healthy meal. We've got all of the all that extra grease out of there. Now that meat that I used was a 70-30 hamburger meat. You could use you know, other percentages, 80-20 or leaner meat, but I like that 70-30 because of the fact that it does have that extra juice in it, and it cooks up just right. It cooks up just as flavorful as anything you want to eat. Now I can do hamburgers with that, meatballs. You do spaghetti meat for your spaghetti, and it always turns out great. Now what I'll do is I'll take this. As I said, I was cooking this for my son. He'll eat, I would say, about 3/4 of that easily. He'll eat all of that, and then he'll try and push on through to the remaining bit of it. Now, if we had other things on the side, like the vegetables and the rolls or whatnot, stuff like that, then he might back off a little bit. But tonight he just said he wanted this. He's at work, doing a good job, and he's fantastic. I'm heading off to the Marine Corps not too long from now, so we just proud of him, excited for him, what God has in store for him, and what we can do to help him along the way. And so continue to take care of your family, your loved ones. Give them healthy food. Let them know that you love them as often as possible. You can call them. You can stop by and see them. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put this in 2 bowls. I don't think it's going to fit in just the 1 bowl here. We'll take a look at that here. Now we like to use these containers. They're actually plastic, but I mean they are fantastic. You get them at Walmart, other places. They're Rubbermaid. They have the tops that you close them up. You can put that straight into the refrigerator, straight into the freezer, and you can cook right in it. As far as a microwave, you just open up these little tops here. There's little holes in there for the vapor to escape out. Otherwise, it would probably explode the top off. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that in these 2 containers, and then whatever he's gonna eat 1, no problem. The other container, what he doesn't eat, he'll just pop the lid on and stick it into the refrigerator, and that'll be good. As good tomorrow. Now, as you can see, that is a good portion right there. That's not even a one. That's 2 people. That's 2 people right there. So as I said, I think that this particular 1 box is, instead of 5 servings like it calls for, I think it's more accurately 4 servings. So what I do is I go ahead and put that in there. I'll take all this stuff and I'll put it over in the sink, wash it up real quick, and we're finished. We're finished. Now he'll be right on in here shortly, and if it's cooled down a little, he'll just pop it right into the microwave, 45 seconds or so. You'll open up the top. That way it can vape just a little bit. Some of that moisture, it doesn't build up in there and explode the top. But in any case, I'm just going to set them right inside the microwave, and that'll hold that temperature really well for a while. Sometimes what I do is I'll take and just to help it keep its temperature in that, I'll do this. Okay, I'll take that, and as you know, that aluminum foil is going to help it retain that heat longer than just on its own. So I'll wrap both of those up like that, and most of the time when he comes in, he finds that it's the perfect temperature. He doesn't even have to warm it up. If anything, just a little bit, he'll warm one of them up. But that's the way we do that. Anyway, I'm Brother James, and this is my 4-cheese lasagna, magnificent and real simple. 1 pound of meat, 1 box of the hamburger helper, and then I use my spice as far as the seasoning, the salt, pepper. Then I use the taco season, some of that in there as well, and the milk. That was, let's see here, just a second. The milk was there it is, 1 3/4. The water was 1 1/4, and it's super simple. It's quick. We put all that into the pan. We brown that meat, initially, and I showed you that as far as what we like to do with it. We don't want to over brown it and make it like hard hamburger meat. All that meat in there is tender right now. It's awesome. So we're going to put all that once it's brown and put all those contents in that pan. We're going to crank that stove top up to high, and we want all that content in that pan to begin to boil, a roaring boil, and then we're going to back that down to I use number 2 on my stove top. That's my simmer, and I put the top on, and I let that simmer 7 minutes. I stir it up, unstick whatever might be sticking, cover it up. 7 more minutes. I come back, I pop the top, stir it again, and then 5 minutes. Come back in 5 minutes. It's ready to go. All right. So I'm Brother James. Praise the Lord. And maybe next time I can do the stroganoff. The stroganoff magnificent. Like I said, these meals are inexpensive. They're quick. They can be healthy. And I think one of the most important factors is that you're doing it yourself for your family, preparing it, making sure it's cooked properly, thoroughly. It's tasty, and you can be proud of serving them something that you prepared from the heart. And in addition, it tastes fantastic. All right, praise the Lord, hallelujah. Bye bye.